Now, the New Zealand couple who were detained in Iran for nearly 4 months were warned not to travel there. Toffa Richwhite and Bridget Thackeray disappeared after entering Iran in July, and it's now been revealed their movements were restricted and monitored before they were allowed to leave safely this week. Our government has now asked New Zealanders in Iran to leave the country, where violent protests against the Iranian regime have been escalating. To discuss the recent events, we're joined by Iranian Kiwis, Masa Marks and Samira Taghavi. First up, I just want to talk, we just played some vision there on what is happening in Iran right now. First from you, Masa, your reaction to that and what's happening on the ground.
It's heartbreaking after 40 days of Mahsa Amini's death that the brutality and the violence that we've seen has continued. It's custom in Iranian culture to have a significant memorial 40 days after the death of a loved one, but Mahsa's family had been threatened to not organise anything. The roads that lead to the memorial ground were blocked, which is why you see people walking there and defying the rules. This is, again, another example of civil disobedience that we've been seeing from Iran.
And that is happening in Iran, yet 2 Kiwis went. Granted, it was a few weeks ago that they went there. They were warned not to. Samira, your reaction to the fact they actually went there in the current climate?
I would call it absolutely reckless. And it was self-entitled from my point of view. They were warned not to go. There was warning in terms of travel ban to Iran since 2020. There were clear warnings that you should not come to Iran as a tourist and use drones. The information that we have is that they did have drones in the car, and only for a trivial Instagram page they have put themselves at risk. And in the past 4 months that stopped our government here for a variety of reasons to condemn unequivocally what was happening in Iran, whilst they were focusing on these 2 New Zealand Europeans. Thousands of people lost their lives and more than 13,000 being detained, and they haven't had the opportunity to return home yet, Amanda.
Masa, we just touched on that with the government, and Jacinda Ardern was surprisingly toned down about what was happening there. Did she get that right, and how frustrating was that for you when she didn't come out strongly?
Oh, we have a female-led government. We had an opportunity to lead in condemning Iran, in imposing sanctions. What we've seen happen in Canada, in the United States, Germany and the UK, New Zealand has fallen far behind. And we've had friends and family overseas going, what's happening to New Zealand? You have got a Prime Minister that has got such public figure, has led so many different key moments, and this is a global moment. There is a human rights crisis happening in Iran, and she's a parent, and there are children being killed in Iran. How come she's not coming out much stronger? So, you know, it is interesting, and it has been heartbreaking for a lot of Kiwis here. We have had 20 demonstrations and protests in New Zealand, and there has been no comments about that.
Yeah, I mean,
from our government.
It's probably an opportune time now to reveal, you know, I worked on the story, and the reason I got onto the story was because of these 2 who were writing to me desperately asking, why is Jacinda Ardern not getting involved in this debate? And it was actually these 2 that showed me the tweets. There were some tweets out there saying that the Kiwi couple were being held, and that's what led me on to the whole thing. It's these 2 women here saying, is this the reason that Jacinda Ardern has been so quiet? So I thank you for helping that, and you were 100% right. She was staying quiet for these 2.
How, though, you've got family obviously there at the moment, we've got New Zealanders there at the moment, finally the government has been able to come out and say, look, New Zealanders in Iran, get out. How hard or easy is that in the current climate?
I'm not an expert when it comes to that, but what we know for a fact, you don't negotiate with a terrorist, and the quiet diplomacy never works, and that is coming from experts in the field. If they leave now, they probably can leave, but it's not something that we can actually offer. I personally cannot offer any opinion on that. However, the hostage situation somehow is resolved now in respect of these 2 Kiwis. This is the time for Ardern government to come out and condemn what's going on in Iran, not only by words, but by actions.
And what actions do you need?
Yeah.
We have been very clear, using her words, we have been very clear, the Iranian community being clear and consistent in terms of the requests from the government. The first thing we want to see is that the Iranian Revolutionary Guard to be added to the terrorist group. Everything they do meet the criteria under our Terrorism Act here in New Zealand.
Yeah, for people who are watching, that's the police that have been involved in some of these atrocities over there. You want them declared as a terrorist group here?
Absolutely. These are not police officers in Iran. They're all related to the Iranian Revolutionary Guards. We want them to be added to the terrorist group. We want sanctions on everyone related to the Iranian Revolutionary Guards. They've done that in Canada. They've done that in UK. They're going to expand that in UK. They've done that in the United States. They've done it in most of the countries that New Zealand have looked and adopted what they have done in the past.
And finally, what else do you want from the government?
We want condemnation with actions. We just don't want words. We want them to come out. This is the time to do something about it. Her words, her concerns do not matter to the mothers and to the fathers in Iran who have children in detention, to the mothers who call their daughters in prison and hearing that their daughters are asking for contraceptive pills because we know what's going on there.
Yeah.
Marsa and Samira, thank you so much for joining us today and giving us an insight towards what is actually happening over there.
And thank you for bringing your voice to the people in your country who are suffering. I'm very proud of you. Thank you for doing that.
Especially the women and children.